Hello everybody, it's vanburman here. Just wanted to give you a bit of an intro as to this particular video. I'm sure though if you've seen the title, probably pretty obvious, but just wanted to go through a few bits. So I've had a lot of comments around, the Steam Deck's performance compared to like gaming laptops. I don't have a gaming laptop here, but I do have an equivalent laptop in terms of like the price, I guess, for the 64 GB version, or roughly. So this is the Lenovo Flex 5, the AMD version. So it's got a 5500U in it, which is Zen 2, unfortunately, rather than Zen 3. But it's got 6 cores, 12 threads, and it also has Vega 7 or 8 graphics. I can't remember which one. Up to 1800 megahertz, I believe, on the GPU clocks. So very different technologies from this and the Steam Deck. It is one of the ones that's transformable though, so you can flip it up, flip it across like I've just shown you, and use it as a tablet, which is quite nice. And I figured that, that versus the Steam Deck might be an interesting comparison, especially as I have the laptop on hand as well. So it seems to make perfect sense to me anyway. Just so you know, this laptop is not stock. In terms of the actual hardware, it's stock. But I have applied a working amount of liquid metal to the SoC, and therefore it runs a lot cooler and generally boosts higher than one off the shelf would do. So just that to bear in mind. So the performance may be increased compared to if you bought the exact same model, unless you put liquid metal on it. I'm also going to be running the tests on the laptop at 720p, and that's because I can't get the 800p resolution, and I can't get the Steam Deck to go down to 720p on the games that I've picked. So unfortunately, I have to make do with what I've got, but do just bear that in mind, I guess, when you see the figures. There is obviously some, the Steam Deck effectively is working slightly harder than, in terms of resolution, than the laptop. So I think the laptop also has a TDP of about 25 watts. I'm going to run both on battery. I know it doesn't make any difference to the Steam Deck. I don't really think it'll make any much difference to the laptop either. But anyway, it gives us a sort of good comparison. Now, I haven't started doing the results for this yet. I'm filming it beforehand because I wanted to give a bit of a prediction, and I think we'll see where it goes. But I'm expecting the Steam Deck to, even with its deficit, to run quicker than the laptop. But we'll see. I've got like Tomb Raider, Grid 2. I might have something else as well I'm going to try out. And we'll see how it does. So, should be interesting. I didn't want to do Rise of the Tomb Raider because I did that for the last video. So we've got normal first Tomb Raider. And Grid 2 being a bit different because it's a racing game as well, which I know I have looked at before, but I thought that might be quite interesting to do. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed the video anyway. It'll be interesting to see the results, and yeah. Okay, so just well, I made a mistake, basically. I had the TDP limit on the Steam Deck, so it's actually, the Steam Deck's actually running at 10 watts rather than its full allocation of 15, I believe. So yeah, bear that in mind when we look at the results. Although there is still quite an interesting conclusion, so it's not quite what I wanted to do, but I think you can draw enough out of it that yeah, I don't know, it gives an impression. So Tomb Raider was actually incredibly close. Obviously we've got the whole thing of, I don't want to harp on it too much, but the Steam Deck doing a slightly higher resolution compared to the 5500U. But I think these came out to less than half a frame between the two for Tomb Raider, and would be, yeah, totally fine. So it seems like, or for this test, for Tomb Raider at least, it seems like limiting the Steam Deck brings it to the same performance as the 5500U. Like I said before, it's a 5500U that may not work like that in the real world, I guess, just because of the mods and stuff that's been done on it. And then we have Grid 2. Now, Grid 2 was one where I saw quite a big difference between the two, and this was actually in favour of the Steam Deck. So Grid 2 tends to do pretty well on all hardware. I know obviously they have the big Intel logo at the beginning, but you literally can play this on really any sort of integrated graphics, within reason, and you can get playable frame rates on it, particularly at low resolution. It does really well, and for the Steam Deck at least, you can average effectively 60 FPS. No doubt it would be even higher, and this is on Ultra as well, so you do also get the nice car details and graphics and that sort of thing. And I still think actually Grid 2 holds up really well. It's just a shame that I didn't have the Steam Deck running at full capacity. It would be good to see how that, how further the difference is between the two. I have gone back and I've ran Thrones of Britannia, which is the next game that I'm going to look at, and there is a difference, but there's probably not as big of an increase as you might think, going from 10 watts to unlimited. Sorry, that's Wilfred. And yeah, but there is performance that was left on the table in the Steam Deck, unfortunately. So I did run Grid 2 in desktop mode because I wanted it to be uncapped. So there's also that to take into account. I think probably there's a small, as we know, there's a small difference running desktop mode rather than running SteamOS. A couple of frames, or a frame and a half potentially, something like that, depending on the various games. So yeah, it's like almost worst case, I guess, for the Steam Deck, and best case for the 5500U. I think the thing that surprises me actually, just as an aside, is how well you can get the 5500U to do in games, even though it's clearly not designed for playing games on. I think reducing the resolution to 720p helps a lot for that chip. I think that's probably universal for Vega 7 graphics, although the 5500U was quick around the track on the benchmark, interestingly enough, which I do find quite amusing. But yeah, I was actually pretty pleased with both. I feel as though it would have been a really good experience if you wanted to play at Ultra, and if not, you could always drop it a little bit to high, medium, whatever, really. Okay, and the last game that we have is Total War Thrones of Britannia. Now, do bear in mind that the Mango HUD UI frame time graphs is a lot more compressed than the one on the 5500U. So if you do take a look at the frame times, they are actually pretty similar, but they're just not showing up as such. They are slightly better on the 5500U, but not by a huge amount. And that's because the performance was actually better on the 5500U compared to the Steam Deck. And the 5500U seemed to not be pushing itself either, so I'm not 100% sure what was going on with that. And that was the same for all the runs I ran, because I ran multiple runs on both. And the 5500U didn't want to fully utilize the GPU for some reason in this game. I can't tell you why that would be. Like I said, I did go back just now before filming this video, and yeah, the Steam Deck gained an extra sort of 3 or 4 frames per second, effectively going from 10 watts to unlimited in the options. So yeah, that's worth noting when we go through the graph at the end. But they're both good experiences on high. They maintain over 30. I always think that the Total War games are pretty subjective because you're going to be doing varying amounts of taxing battles on the hardware, and sometimes it will be fine and you can zoom in, zoom out and at will. And yeah, it's one of them. You can tailor your own experience as needed, and there's plenty of options as well to do so. So as you can see, for me, the Steam Deck wins in inverted commas. The Thrones of Britannia, so the Thrones of Britannia gained 2 frames per second, unlimited. So technically, it still would have lost to the 5500U, but it's within margin of error. Tomb Raider's within margin of error. Bearing in mind the Steam Deck's doing more work at a lot less wattage. As you probably see by the Flex 5 or the 5500U was running 25 watts pretty much all the time. Well, getting up to 25 watts a lot of the time. So yeah, certainly a huge amount of efficiency increased by the Steam Deck without pounding the 5500U on the laptop. So the biggest one, obviously, is Grid 2. I was really surprised by that. I went through and reran that a few times as well because it seemed a bit off considering how close the other ones were. But I don't know. There must be something in the architecture, in the engine, that favours the Steam Deck. So yeah, it's a bit disappointing. I am disappointed, honestly, because it took me a lot of time to make this video, unfortunately, and then I realised that I'd limited the Steam Deck to 10 watts. So I don't know if it's worth doing a video with the Steam Deck unlocked, because I think it's quite clear if I ran these same 3 games again, Thrones of Britannia would be within margin of error, Grid 2 is only going to increase, Tomb Raider is only going to increase. So you can probably spot the trend there without me having to go through and make another video. One of the things that I do have is a desktop 5700G, which obviously has Vega 8 graphics, I believe. And I would be interested to test out the Steam Deck unlocked this time, power limit unlocked, versus that chip, because I'm not sure. I would expect the desktop chip to win, but I don't think it would necessarily, in inverted commas, win by as much as you might think, even though that's a 65 watt part technically, although it will certainly run higher than that, going full bore on some of these games. But I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I don't know if this was found this interesting or not, but I had the hardware to hand, so it seemed worthwhile to make a video like this, just showing off what the Steam Deck can do. But I suppose it also says what the 5500U can do. I've been really impressed with it as a laptop in terms of, being able to do photo editing, video editing, that sort of stuff. It's pretty capable, to be honest, and I think it's testament really to how far a lot of these laptops have come on, especially with the rise of Ryzen and Intel having to catch up. So we're certainly in an age of good hardware now, I think, personally. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do let me know what you think, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.